Ever since I found out I could talk to my grandpa in the afterlife through a psychic medium, I realized he has so many nuggets of wisdom to share with me, which I hope to share with you guys. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe down below. If you have any questions for Grandpa Luan, comment below and they might be featured in our next video. So thanks again for watching, and I hope you enjoy.
Hi, Maria.
Hi, Trang. How's it going?
Good. Just want to talk to my grandpa today about underwater creatures, aquatic life, such as whales, dolphins, and fish, because it was a topic he wanted to talk about. So I'm just wondering if you can pull him through.
Yeah. Let's pull Grandpa in.
Yay.
Okay. He's here.
Hi, Grandpa.
He says hello.
I know this is a topic you want to chat about. Well, technically, you called it underwater consciousness and energy. So to everyone that's watching, what does that mean, and what is there to learn from them?
Underwater consciousness. Oh. So he's showing the water is a very conductive place, especially with the salt. It creates like this hyperconductive environment. And so the animals that live in this environment have special like telekinetic abilities. They can transmit thoughts, feelings, and sounds more easily. It's just a much more like electric. It's interesting, like electric impulses can be sent more easily, things like that. So he's saying that there's a whole other type of, okay, so let's say, like, compare it to like life on land, right? So life on land is a little bit different because we're not submerged in this like hyper conductive liquid, right? Mm-hmm. So, but we still have like telepathic abilities and things like that, but we're more, it's like a weird kind of groundedness that it's not as like we're not always aware of it. We're not like working synergistically together with the realization that we communicate in this way. Whereas underwater, it's like a very efficient system where the various types of animals and plant life are literally like constantly communicating. It's really interesting. So it's a synergy that sometimes we kind of lack on land, that plants have something similar, and animals in the wild, but like humans kind of just cut themselves off from that synergy. So there's a lot of special aspects to the ocean. That's just one of the many ways it's special.
Why are people drawn to certain creatures such as dolphins? No one ever says like, oh yay, fish. It's always dolphins or even whales that they're drawn to.
Well, he's saying besides the fact that people find dolphins really beautiful and majestic, he's saying they're like the horses of the water. Like everybody loves horses, they're like that equivalent of like horses in the water. Like they're majestic, they leap, they do all these beautiful things. So basically that's something that, their essence, the way they move, it's something that's just very admirable. But horses, he's saying, people don't necessarily consider horses always to be hyper intelligent. Like some people might say that, but those people can agree that dolphins are very intelligent. So we also see them in this special way. He's saying humans tend to have this judgment and misunderstanding of animal intelligence. And because we can measure dolphin intelligence better, or, we found more evidence in our studies that they're extremely intelligent, we think, oh, they're more like us, so they're better, so we're more drawn to them. So there's like, he wants to kind of cover some of the superficial aspects, but a lot of it is really that dolphins, let's say, just meant an example of one of many types of sea beings that people kind of get drawn to. So like they have this ability to again, like telepathically communicate, and they can sense energy. They can feel emotions really strongly. They're very advanced consciousness beings. So there's something very powerful about them when people see them, when they get near them, that makes them feel so connected, and it's inexplicable to them. And that's part of the reason is because we're sensing this like kind of package of like special attributes, psychic powers, high level of consciousness and spiritual evolution. And they're kind of like part of like the keepers of the sea, let's say. There's more beings that we haven't really given much thought to or haven't explored as much or haven't even discovered, but those are some of the beings that we see more regularly that are like keepers of the sea in a way.
Got it. And with underwater life, how do I word this? But like, how, in what ways are we underestimating their powers? You know, because obviously a lot of, you know, we don't see them all the time, so a lot of people don't think much of them, or even like the way we treat the waters, or even pollute and stuff like that.
Sorry. Just a little bit. Speaking of water, I guess. First of all, he's saying the scope in which sea life is studied is a very kind of studied in terms of like impulses, chemical reactions, motor skills, problem solving skills, very like technical things that they like to study about sea life, you know, colonization habits, changes with the currents and water temperatures, variations according to depth and temperature of the water, very technical things. And that's just because like it hasn't been very long that humans have actually had the tools to study sea life. So we weren't able to access depth like we can now in the last like 20, 30 years. So it's still kind of like a baby as far as like the level of research and the depth
advancement.
And advancement. It's just it's still in its infancy, so of course they're just kind of starting off with the things that they study elsewhere. Like in other animals, like study those things. Some of the things that make sea animals more interesting to like humans is some of their like camouflaging capabilities, their color changing capabilities, the way they can trigger instantaneously a different color of skin or pigmentation. Like those are some things that humans are looking forward to adapt into like different types of technology and stuff for ourselves. So it's kind of like out of self-interest, we want to learn how so we can take that and manufacture it, let's say for like military purposes or for other things, right? And there's also like a lot of medications that are being discovered through sea life. So you can see it's very technical. It's very like, how can it serve us kind of a way. A lot of cases, although there are more researchers that are trying to actually understand the consciousness of, but they see the way they communicate non-verbally, and interspecies communication is of interest to some. So, but as time goes on, there will be more studies as technology and the way we research changes and advances. We'll start to look into more aspects of these beautiful little beings. Did that answer the question?
It's fine. I was about to ask you what the future of the study, like where the future looks like for finding out more about aquatic life.
Yeah.
So, you know, but Grandpa just answered that. But I also, another thing that just popped in my head right now was certain people seem to be drawn to the water, whether it's, you know, they just naturally at a young age, or like they just are into surfing or sailing or swimming, it always has to do something with the water. They're drawn to the water. And is there, I guess, a spiritual reason why certain people are like that? Or if they're born like that, or they just over time became that way?
So there's a few different answers to that. And real quick, he had something to add to the future thing. Mm-hmm. He's saying that as we can, he's saying, you know how we have astronauts that go into space?
Yeah.
And they have shuttles, and they're specially designed to withstand certain pressures and temperatures and all that. And people live out there and study space. He's saying in the next couple decades, they're going to be able to develop housing that's under the water, that's specially designed, just like astronauts, but under the water, to withstand certain pressures and things like that. So people will be stationed underwater, and their job will be to study like life in more depth and watch it daily instead of being a diver, diving down, observing for some hours or a day. They'll actually be living in the environment. But we need to make some more advances in technology, especially in regards to like how the area is pressurized so that doesn't affect the body negatively and stuff like that. So we still have a little ways to go, but underwater like study colonies might start popping up soon. So that was just something else we wanted to mention. It was really cool.
Cool.
I know, I'm like, oh, sign me up. So as far as like why certain people are gravitated towards the sea life, the water.
Mermaids, anything, yeah.
Or mermaids.
Sea animals, yeah.
Some of it is, so there's so many different answers to that. One of them is sometimes people come from, they're star seeds, they come from planets that are more familiar with being another life form that they took, like another life, where it reminds them of home. Another one is that they actually were a sea mammal. Another one is that their energetic frequency matches more of the sea life and the vibration of the ocean than it does on land. So people who are like water babies, people who like to like be in water, interact with water, sea life, all that crap, they just really feel more dialed in. It feels more like home to them. So it's about their vibration. And a lot of those people do tend to have more of like spiritual openness and maybe some hit abilities they don't realize they have. And so, he's saying then there's like the darker side of like why people like the ocean. He's like, you'll see like the tycoons, like they have the yachts, and it's not because they actually care about the ocean. It's just because it's a status symbol. It's a symbol of freedom. It's a symbol of wealth to have a place on the beach. And he's like, and of course, it's a beautiful area. It's beautiful being near the water. So that's another reason. But the people who are truly like care or passionate about the ocean, they are likely, a lot of them are star seeds. A lot of them are operating at a higher vibration, and they can just relate more to the sea life. And they can actually telepathically communicate. Like sometimes people will always seem to like attract dolphins when they're out swimming in the ocean, or attract certain sea life. It's because they see them as like similar, that they're like, oh, one of us, so their vibration and energy and consciousness just matches that more.
And just to wrap it up, like what can we do to play our part in maybe like learning more or taking care of the aquatic life?
It's giving me chills. He was showing me like, we focus so much on shipwrecks, he was saying. We're just so obsessed with shipwrecks.
Yeah.
And more time research shipwrecks.
Sorry, you just got cut off right there. Can you start again?
Yeah. He said, we spend so much time studying shipwrecks that we do that more than we study the actual complexities of the ocean. But he's almost saying like NASA has an interest in the ocean. Like NASA might start getting into like ocean projects. They may already be involved in some ocean projects, but like agencies like that are starting to see the value. But the problem is that, and the reason again why NASA might be, for example, an entity that can do something like the underwater colony, is because they have the resources and the knowledge to transition what they've learned from space and adapt that technology to go under the water. So larger agencies will have to likely be the first ones to really pioneer that. And then along the way, there might be some more like startups, smaller groups that once the technology is more mastered, the study of the sea is actually going to blow up at some point in the next like 30 years or so, maybe even a little less, where we're just, the problem is, he's saying, is that we're really limited. Our bodies can't withstand the pressures of the deep for very long. There's a lot of side effects, and people live in are in submarines and stuff. So there's a lot of technology, old technology, we can merge with new technology to make that happen. And he's saying that like part of the thing that people still don't get is the runoff. He said that people were talking a lot about rainwater runoff in commercials in decades gone by, about like, don't dump this down the drain system and stuff. But he's saying having better education and better systems to filter water before it goes into the ocean, because people just think the ocean is limitless, like a big toilet, and it's just like, dump it in there, it'll get diluted and whatever. But people don't realize like how many human beings are on the planet and how much waste from us goes into the ocean, and these beautiful, amazing beings that are the keepers of, they're one of the guardians of Earth, like live in the ocean. The ocean takes up a massive part of the world, and yet we're not realizing like how special these beings are. And so just thinking outside of the terra mindset, the land mindset, and our hustle and bustle, not using chemicals as much that will go into the ocean, down the drains, thinking about our own like hygiene and our own concept of waste will help us prepare us for an era where we will be studying a lot of ocean stuff. And then we're going to realize, like, we're already realizing some of our impacts, but there's going to be a whole other level of like, oh my God, we didn't realize it was causing that too much damage.
Yeah.
So that's what he's saying, is to increase awareness, education, and to learn.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Grandpa, on teaching us about this life that a lot of us don't know about. So
Really likes this topic, but he's happy to.